What is up, everybody? Shauna D-Man here. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys are doing great. Hope you guys had yourselves a great weekend. We are back to talk about episode 4 review of It. Welcome to Derry. Hope you guys are enjoying this series as much as I am. So episode 4, let's just jump right into it. So obviously episode 4 picks up with the kids. Obviously, at the end of episode 3, they went to the cemetery to try to get some kind of evidence to prove to the cops that Ronnie's dad is innocent. And obviously they saw the images, and obviously we as the audience saw the images of, like, I believe Teddy and Susan or Susie, and then obviously the one that kind of had Pennywise in it. But like, when the cops look at it, they don't see it. Okay, so they don't see it. I mean, they do see the last image of what appears to be Pennywise in the photo. Um, but I'm curious on, like, do they actually see it, or is it only the kids that can see it? So, but needless to say, it does not go well for them. Obviously, the cops don't believe them, and that is pretty much it for that. So again, there's a storyline that's going. I'm gonna swing around to the kids back in a second, but another storyline that's going on is obviously Will's mom. She definitely sounds like she was an activist down south. Got arrested probably a few times, but she, obviously she hears about what happened to Hank Grogan and the kids in the theater, so she at least tries to, go talk to the chief at first, because Will does tell her something was going on because she was tidying up. She found the photos that he took. I don't know why he kept those. I mean, I guess evidence you would keep it, but he kept it, and so she found it, and obviously she goes to the police, she goes to the chief, and just talks with him about, if there is somebody out there terrorizing these kids, including her son, then that means they have the wrong person locked up. And obviously the chief is like, no, we question him, call him a lie, and things like that. And we'll come to find out what was really going on in a minute. But she's definitely trying, like, she like, her civil rights side of her is definitely showing up in this episode. So while that's going on, we also back with Halloran. His connections got him at, like, a little, decommissioned bunker for him and his friends to go and hang out. So they're cleaning that up. Will and his dad hang out for a little bit. They go fly fishing. Then we start to get uh, more Pennywise shenanigans going on when Will's dad goes to get more bait. Will is suddenly attacked. What he says is to be his dad, but his dad is all burned and scarred up from, like, a plane crash, that kind of thing, and it tries to drag him out under the water. Not Hank, but Will's dad does arrive to help him and everything, and you could tell, like, he's got cuts and scratches all over him, and he goes to question Halloran about it. Um, and obviously Halloran gets very defensive because he obviously he doesn't know what exactly they're looking for, but obviously the encounter that he had in the last episode um, definitely left a bad taste in his mouth, because he even sees, I don't know if it's like Pennywise messing with him, or if it's like his actual, like, grandmother, like, spiritually connecting with him, you know, telling him to keep a lid on tight and things like that. So I'm very curious on if that's like Pennywise messing with him, or is this his actual grandmother, who I believe he mentioned had like a psychic ability just like he does. Um, is she trying to warn him? So that is something I am very curious about in that regard. Um, and so We're gonna swing around to the no. Let's keep going with Will's mom. So Will's mom goes and meets with Grogan's mom and daughter and everything, and obviously they're talking about it. And she writes her a letter saying that she gives permission for her to talk to Mr. Grogan while he's in jail. And they start conversating because he is being planned to be shipped out to Shawshank. And so obviously bad reputation. He knows he's probably not going to survive in there and things like that. But she kind of presses him, and she's kind of like, basically your civil rights was violated. Um, and we can do some paperwork. We can get some stuff taken care of to where you'll have to just basically be on house arrest until your trial starts. Now, it'll take a minute for that paperwork to go through, so he's probably already going to have to go up to Shawshank just for a few days, but then they'll be able to get him back home. But he's going to have to tell the truth eventually on why he wasn't where he was, and obviously he pushes back and says, I didn't hurt those kids. I told the cops that and everything, and she pushes back and says, well, that's not gonna matter because you lied about where you were. And so here's what we come to find out is that he was with a woman that night, not just any woman, a white woman. And so obviously during this time period, obviously that was a big no and everything, and like he knows, like if that got out, he knows what will happen to him. And like more moreover, like who knows what's gonna happen to this woman that he slept with, like because she's married. So I was curious. I was thinking about it, like, are we gonna like see who it is, or is that just something that just a plot device for the story? So again, something I am curious about on like if we will get some kind of like hints or something like that of who he was seeing. Like is it somebody we already know and met? But but yeah. And so um so that's that. And so then the rat go back up to Hanlon and his situation, and then we'll finish up with the kids. He goes, and obviously he kind of, like I mentioned earlier, he pushes Halloran about it. He goes and he kind of like goes to the colonel. It's like, okay, what are we looking for? Because that night Will couldn't sleep. He looks through his telescope because he's having flashbacks of his dad and everything, or the incident that happened. He's like going through the telescope, and then pulls it down, just watching a guy walking his dog late at night, and then it zooms over, and then there's a silhouette of Pennywise standing behind a tree, freaks him out. So Hanlon goes and to the colonel, questions him, like, what are we doing? What are we looking for? And they basically arrested. Now I don't know how they arrested him, but they got how do you pronounce his name? Tanlin, if I said his name correctly. We've seen him multiple times throughout the series already. The Native American guy and his auntie and everything, but obviously he's not cooperating because he knows what the military is looking for. He knows where they are, and he's not talking. So then they bring in Halloran, and he starts to go psychic mind link on him, and we get this pretty cool little backstory of Pennywise and everything like that, where just comes down on a falling star. The shards that they placed around the western woods as a way of keeping him contained in those woods. Now I am curious about it is if it's keeping him contained in the woods, like how is he able to basically mess with the kids, if that makes sense? Is it now I'm sure there's an explanation because we do see the house at the end after the story's been told Tanlin points to Halloran where to find the shards and everything. And it points to the the black house that we've seen multitudes of times in the movies and stuff like that. So we see that. Um, so I'm sure there's more revolve around that. Maybe that's kind of like a way for Pennywise to mess with people. So I am kind of curious on that little part right there. Um, but as far as with the kids, so much happens here. So obviously we have the whole Will situation, and Will talks with Rich, um, Lily, and Ronnie, talking about how some animals, because they're wondering why hasn't it killed them yet, and it is basically because Will. The best way Will put it is it is basically waiting for us to get ripe before it kills us, like the fear that you emit, it gets into your bloodstream, and some predators like the taste of it and things like that. And so that's basically the what we're going with is, well, the reason Pennywise hasn't killed these kids yet is because he's waiting for them to get ripe with enough fear. I guess the best way to put it is like you can say it's kind of like Jeepers Creepers. It only goes after specific people whose fear it can smell. And so um yeah, that is that. So they I'm pretty sure this is drugs that they, because Lily swipes some pills from her mom's compactor, and it's supposed to like help like mellow out and stuff like that, get rid of the fear and stuff like that. I'm pretty sure those are drugs. And so I was like, oh, okay, that's all right. And so the craziest thing, because I was like curious, I was like, oh man, this is pretty much a pretty chill episode. We're not really getting any kind of like crazy stuff, but we do. So, so they, the basically the bullies that Marge is friends with plan on like pranking Lily, um, and Marge goes to make sure Lily, doesn't back out of it and things like that, because it's about a boy that is pretending to like her just so they can pull a prank on her. And meanwhile, while Lily is using the bathroom, Marge starts to like experience a lot of weirdness. Like her eyes turn into like these um like it was a snail. They were in science, I guess science class, but they were like watching stuff on worms and stuff like that. And it kind of like bugs her eyes out to one of the worms that we saw earlier in the episode. And it's just so gross. It makes Mars go crazy. She goes into shop class, and she tries to like stab her eye out, or try to stab him out, but it doesn't work. But she goes to this power saw, and she goes and she cuts her like part of her eye and everything. Lily arrives in time to try to stop her, but I like I screamed. I was like, oh come on, because it comes into a situation where everybody walks in on them, and it looks like Lily attacked Marge and poked one of her eyes out. And it's just, I'm like, oh my god, this timing is ridiculous. And it's like, it's just insane how that happens. And so like everybody's just like standing there just like horrified. And even Ronnie, Rich, and Will are just standing there too during their watching. And it's just kind of like, and it's like I didn't do this. And it's like it sucks so bad for Lily because people already think she's crazy, and it's just, it's crazy for her. I hate it for her. And so but yeah, that's pretty much episode 4. Relatively liked it. It's just adding just stuff onto it. I mean, I think there's 8 episodes in the series. And so, I mean, overall, I like it. I think the kid actors are good. Um, just the visuals and everything is just so gory and stuff like that. It's just insane. But I do like this series. I think it's relatively a good series. So we'll have to see how it plays out the rest of the way, because I think we're halfway through. So I'm very interested to see on how else the rest of these next episodes play out. But guys, that is relatively it. If you're new to the channel, be sure you hit that like and subscribe button, comment below. You can check out my gaming channel, Twitch, Rumble, and Kick down in the description below for all things gaming wise. So definitely go and do that. But thank you guys for hanging out. Thank you guys for watching. And I will see you all in the next video. Y'all have a good one.